Comedy of errors. When I was in high school back in the day, I didn't smoke pot or drink. I was a day tripper to a T. I used to try to go after the third plateau whenever I had time and supplies to do it. One special Friday, me and my friends Andy and Mike were hanging out and Andy busted out a cough syrup we had never seen before. It was DOCUMENTATIONal. Andy said it tasted like oranges and Mike agreed, but I was suspicious. I had my own bottle of Robo on me, so I didn't need it, and their bottle was so tiny. They explained it was more powerful than normal syrup and had twice the dex per milliliter, which is kinda true, except it doesn't react hard, it just takes longer. I gave it a taste and told them I was pretty sure that orange stuff was bullshit and downed my bottle with the classic normal Robitussin. A lot of people have a hard time chugging this gross stuff, but I always was able to down it and not even flinch. It was a talent, but not a good one. Anyways, the Delson bottle was so damn little. I haven't seen one that size since. Andy and Mike hung out with me for an hour and then got fed up because they felt nothing, so we were going to go get some more at Walmart. We didn't have money and I was in no condition to try shoplifting at that point. I was tripping now. When they went inside, I went to the soda machines in the lobby and considered my options of drink for the night. I didn't have any change and just stared at the vending machine for a long time, every once in a while checking my pockets for money as if it would just come out of hiding since the last time I searched it a couple of minutes ago. Andy and Mike came back to the lobby walking fast, telling me, "We need to go right now." I responded, "I need to get a drink first," and they were like, "No, we need to leave, they're after us." We ran to the car and hit the road. On the way back, they were freaking out saying RoboCops were after them. They did not mean the robot from the movie RoboCop. They thought whoever was after them were like specialized agents who busted people specifically for DXM. It was probably just asset protection security if it was anyone at all. They were so convinced that we were being chased by. They started unloading all the stolen medicine and downing as much as they could before we were gonna throw them out the car to get rid of it. Mike threw me a box of cortisone and another bottle of Robitussin to the back seat. I took 2 blister packs of cortisone and downed half the Robo and put the rest in my pocket. Mike was throwing shit out the window frantically while Andy drove chugging as much Delsum as he could. Mike was even throwing out unrelated stuff like Andy's CDs and food and magazines he had in the car. I remember specifically Mike screaming like a girl when he threw a bottle out and it hit a road sign and he heard it hit the sign with a loud crash. They thought we were being followed by RoboCops and their panic got even worse as we pulled up to some train tracks that we had to stop at and wait for a train to pass. "They're not gonna take me alive," Mike was promising. "I'm going down shooting." I was like, "You have a gun?" And he was like, "No." And then he asked Andy to borrow his gun. Andy owned no gun. None of us ever had a gun. When the train was gone, we drove towards Mike's house, but they were sure absolutely that the RoboCops would be waiting there for us. All the while, I was pretty damn sure they were just wigging out. I also didn't fully understand the idea of RoboCop. I thought they were talking about the movie one and didn't put it together at the time. We drove to where no one would find us. It was a graveyard. What a wild place to go tripping. It didn't take 5 minutes after we got there that we lost track of Andy. I don't know where the fuck he went, so it was me and Michael just hiding behind some gravestones. He told me about what happened in Walmart. They went to go get Delsum, but then they noticed that there was Robitussin cough gels now. These were actually new. They were ecstatic about the discovery. This was something that hadn't been on the market before, at least not in our time. Unfortunately, the packaging it came in confused the hell out of them. It wasn't like a simple box. It was like really thin, crinkly loud plastic pressed in cardboard around a bottle. They weren't able to break it with much discretion, and people saw what they were doing, and they wigged out and ran the hell away. I told Michael he was full of shit and there was no such things as cough gels. There actually was, though. The only thing like it before we saw was Dexalone, which was 50 milligrams of nothing but DXM, no extra ingredients, but that was really hard to find. Mike's demeanor changed to somewhat angry after a while. We were both starting to hit the third plateau wherein the hallucinations start happening. I had only experienced it once up to this point. Mike hadn't yet. He was different. He was defensive all of a sudden, muttering and cussing out a flower wreath thing someone left for their dead loved ones. Something to the effect of, "Man, you don't shake that hatchet at me, motherfucker. I know we stole your land and stuff, but that was a long time ago. What the fuck do you expect me to do about it?" I grabbed him to get his attention, asking him what the fuck he was talking about. He said the flower wreath was a Native American. The ring of flowers looked like a feathered headdress to him. I told him to chill and told him just to apologize, shake the Indian's hand, and he'll forgive you and go away. Mike pushed the flowers over instead. He realized they were just flowers when he did. All of a sudden then, headlights blasted on, blinding us. Not from Andy's car, but from another car. It was at this time we decided to leave. We were both in the zone and started walking back to Andy's car. The headlights from the other car was blinding us, and I fumbled around blindly trying to find the door handle of the car. When I opened up the door and jumped in, I almost landed hard on Andy, who was in the back seat floorboards hiding. I don't know when Andy got back in the car. Mike jumped in the passenger seat, yelling to Andy, "We need to get out of here. Let's go." And Andy would be like, "Yeah, let's go." Mike would go, "Come on, man, let's go." And Andy would shout, "I know, let's go." An exchange pretty much went like this back and forth for another minute before Andy remembered he was the driver and he had to get up front. Important PSA break. There are some things you aren't supposed to do when you're tripping on DXM. Obvious stuff. Don't hang out extensively with your parents. Don't try to have sex. Don't cook on the stove. Don't handle dishes you want to keep. Don't take a math test. All these are secondary. First and foremost, you should never, ever, ever drive if you are messed up on anything. It not only endangers your life, but it endangers everyone else's. There's nothing so important to risk it. Get in trouble, come back late, get arrested, do anything else, just don't drive. It's not worth it. End of PSA break. So Andy is driving, Mike is wigging and wanting to fight stuff, and I'm so vexed I can barely muster the will to talk. I just watched everything happen most of the night. I was feeling all the body sensations. I was hot, I was numb, my joints felt fake or something. I had light tracers too. This must have been my second time going this far, and it wasn't very dramatic. I didn't see many visuals at all unless I closed my eyes. I really only hallucinated like a lot one time, and a little bit this time, but after never again, but that's another story. This one, I'm just sick and everyone was wigging out and the music on the car stereo sounded like it was in fast forward even though it wasn't. If you're wondering who was in the other car that blinded us and scared us out of that graveyard, me too. No one from the car talked to us. I don't know if it was a groundskeeper or what, but they didn't pursue us. Mike asked Andy who was in the other car, and Andy asked him, "What other car?" Mike said the one that was behind us. Andy just looked at him funny and said, "That was a train, dude." It was at this point I realized Andy is vexed too. We drove like 10 miles per hour back to Michael's house, and we were getting ready to get in trouble and accepting the imminent discipline. Mike asked Andy what time it was, and Andy looked at his dashboard clock that read 1:55. We were supposed to be home by 11 p.m. Mike was like, "Well, fuck, I guess it's over now," and we started marched into his house ready to feel the wrath of his parents. What Andy didn't seem too concerned with telling us, his dashboard clock was stuck on 1:55. It never changed. It was broke that way. We came in at 10:30. Mike's parents asked us how our night was, and I responded really loudly as if I was talking to a deaf or foreign. "It was good. We will play Nintendo now." And they said okay, and that there was pizza in the kitchen. "Thank you, but we will play Nintendo now." His mom told me okay, but don't make a lot of noise because everyone's going to bed. We played GameCube. At the time, it just went on sale for $99 and came with a Zelda collection for free, and we were playing the first Zelda, but we couldn't get anywhere in it because we were so disoriented. At some point, Andy's cell phone started ringing loud as hell. It was a little Nokia thing, really slick looking for its time, but it really wasn't at all. We were like, "Dude, answer your phone." No response. I threw his shoe at him and got his attention, and he looked at me like I just punched him or did something wrong to him, and he's like, "What?" "Dude, Answer your phone. Andy picked up his shoe and put it to his ear and was like, hello? After that, we stayed up trying to see if the news reported on what Mike and Andy thought was a high-speed chase when they stole a shit ton of medicine from Walmart and sped off. I was almost disappointed we didn't, even though I knew for a fact we would not have. We stayed up all night letting the dungeon music from the Zelda play all night long as we just sat there doing nothing, and Link on the screen was doing nothing too. At some point, Andy commented Mike's parents must be pretty cool to let him have a poster of two naked chicks making out. I'm pretty sure it was a Lord of the Rings poster and featured Gandalf and Aragorn predominantly in the picture. I guess he saw them as chicks? I don't know. All I know is we were so exhausted physically and mentally after all these seeming unproductive actions, but everyone felt like we ran a marathon or something. That's pretty much the only eventful experience I ever had. Most others were just lying around playing video games or listening to music or getting busted or something. There were a couple little events, but I think this night was the only one worth talking about. It might seem funny and awesome at some parts, but we were taking a lot of big risk, and we were making really big mistakes that could have hurt us very badly and ruined our lives. Well, I think the three of us did ruin some of our lives. I'm kinda a chemically dependent drug addict that has no addiction to one thing. Andy turned out going to a mental hospital a lot, and for some reason, I don't know why, he was castrated at some point. Michael got caught with Andy stealing a few weeks later, and luckily the store didn't press charges, and he was grounded for a few weeks, and then he came back not too enthused to get back to mischief, so he strained himself out the best. I got busted a lot after that. It wasn't a good idea to do this stuff. I wouldn't recommend it. Anyways, that's about it. Thanks for your time.